guarantee you there are lots of people on the left who voted for Zohran Mamdani who are just fine with what happened yesterday. Agitators, according to the New York Post, caught on camera, wreaking havoc, pelting police officers, huge chunks of snow and ice at police at Manhattan's Washington Square Park yesterday afternoon. If you're watching right now on Salem News Channel, it's a hard video to watch because you're seeing officers getting hit in the mouth, in the face. I guarantee you some of those snowballs, I promise you some of those snowballs had rocks in them. A number of police officers were taken to the hospital, treated for facial lacerations. It didn't take long for the former governor, Andrew Cuomo, and the former mayor, Eric Adams, to point the finger at Zohran the Destroyer, blaming his history of anti-police rhetoric for the violent scenes. And as I understand it, it wasn't just Washington Square Park. This happened in different locations all throughout the city yesterday. They had this massive snowfall. New York never usually gets that much snow. And what did the degenerates do? They weaponized the snow and used it to pelt police officers. And I'm going to say something about these NYPD officers. I've looked at that video, and you've seen the video now, right now at snc.tv. If you're watching the show, we're streaming it everywhere. The restraint that these officers are showing is nothing short of miraculous. Because if I had some punk hiding behind a mask, and most of them had masks on, pelting me in the face with ice and snow, to be able to just walk away the way those officers did, and what are they going to do in Zohran Mamdani's New York? They'll get in trouble. Cuomo posted on X, this is disgraceful, but with a mayor who has a history of calling the police racist, evil, wicked, and corrupt, he set the tone. Words have consequences. We're seeing that in the growing disrespect for law enforcement, just as we've seen it in the rise in anti-Semitism. Real leaders understand that. The mayor does not. Look, I'm no fan of Cuomo, but Cuomo would be a hell of a lot better in that position than this freak, than this communist, than this kid who's in way over his head. And Cuomo's right. When you have a history of calling law enforcement racist, evil, wicked, and corrupt, all terms that Zohran Mamdani, the current mayor of New York, has used to describe the NYPD, why would you be surprised at this? Why would you be surprised? Eric Adams said, watching officers, and he's a former cop, by the way. Eric Adams is a former officer. Watching officers get pelted with snow and ice while they're out in brutal weather, protecting this city, should make every New Yorker furious. It's disgusting. And the politicians who constantly bash the police and refuse to have their backs are setting a terrible example. Leadership matters. Tone matters. It was and you know what? Somebody said something about billy clubs. Do you remember the old friendly neighborhood cop? The big burly Irish cop who would patrol Hell's Kitchen back in the day? He had a billy club. Remember the billy clubs? You know what they do with the billy club? If somebody stupidly pelted an officer in the mouth with an ice ball, he'd take that billy club and he'd whop that punk upside the head. He'd split that punk's skull open with a billy club. And then the punk would get wheeled off to, the hospital. They'd take him over to Bellevue, stitch him up, and then they'd slap him with a summons and a warrant. In Zohran's New York, it's open season on the police. I'm sick to my stomach. And if you want to see those videos, we've got them posted on my X account, @Gallagher Show. You can check it out. And you can see there's even more than we're showing right now on snc.tv. It's awful. And those officers had number of them treated for facial lacerations, and none of them raised a hand to any of those punks. The restraint was just incredible. I've never seen anything like it. And that's the professionalism of the NYPD. And that's the reality that officers in New York have to live with, because they know they're being scrutinized. Every second is caught on 100 cell phone cameras. And the first time any of ththose officers would respond belligerently, be all over for them. I can't even, I get so, I'm in a red hot rage over this. How these punks, these little sniveling little screwballs think that it's funny to batter police officers with snowballs and ice, sending a bunch of them to the hospital.
For full shows, live and on demand, it's Salem News Channel.